Yo, turn the lights down low and the drama up. She's late, she's loud, and she live. Woo! You already know who it is. Shades 2, baby. She back again. Mic hot, crowd lit, vibe on 10. Shay walk in like we back again. News, tea, jokes and spins. She don't do small talk, she go in. From the headlines to the comment section, she call names with no correction. You tuned in, don't act brand new. It's late night, baby, she got that view.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I lacked game, back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. Popcorn ready, wig on alert. She dropped one line and somebody hurt. Talk show queen with a side of roast. She run this thing from coast to coast. Late on purpose, still on time. She hit you with shade, then call it a rhyme. Talk smart, talk slick, talk flame. Say the name right here, late night with Shay.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. That's right. News, drama, laughs, whatever else she feel like. One mic, one queen. Late night with Shay. On Shay's tube, she back again.
It's late night with Shay.
Yeah, she say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. Yeah.
Hello guys, welcome to Shay's Tube Late Night Owls Talk Time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me ask you guys, if you enjoyed this content tonight, make sure you thumbs up this video. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe below and hit that bell notification so you can be notified of any upcoming videos. Make sure to share and leave a comment. And thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and do that copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. That entire copyright disclaimer is in my description area. Part of it is put on across that screen, and it will be in my comment area as soon as possible. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy and blessed weekend, and I hope you guys have a beautiful week. All right. Welcome to everybody in the bushes, everybody who watches this in the replay. Over here in the chat, we got Jermaine in the place to be, and we got Old Boy. What's up, Old Boy? Y'all make sure y'all check out Old Boy's channel, y'all, and show him some love and support. Also check out Black Vigilance TV and show him some love and support as well. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me go ahead and turn this volume. This damn phone is always full. The storage space is always full on this phone, man. I'm telling you, this other one. Okay, so anyway, tonight, guys, this is Fuccery Friday / Saturday. Okay, we're going to talk about Diddy's defense team closing arguments. We're going to do a recap on that. We're going to talk about Karmelo Anthony. You know, his family is requesting more money. We're going to talk about how much these defense attorneys in a case like this will probably cost and why he probably needs more money. And we're going to cover whatever fuckery news that I have on my phone. So y'all, get you something to drink, or relax in bed or chair or whatever. If you are at work, continue to do your job. but listen to me or either watch me on the download because I definitely don't want you guys to get in trouble. All right, and let's go ahead and listen to Shades Tube. All right, all right, all right. So let me turn that music up just a little bit more because I can barely hear it. Let's see. I can hear it, but I mean, I need it up just a little bit more. Well, actually, I can just leave it right there. All right, so y'all, make sure y'all check out my Country Wayne reaction video that I did earlier if you like Country Wayne. That was a real good reaction video, so make sure y'all check that out. And thanks to everybody for getting me up to 400 and some views on that video. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. All right, all right. So first thing first, y'all, Fuccery Friday. All right, so we're going to talk about Diddy's defense team first. Okay, let's go ahead and do that one. Diddy, where is it at? Diddy. This weekend I'm gonna try to definitely put this stuff in alphabetical order so I can find it easier. All right, so let's go ahead and get this started, you guys. And again, thank you all for coming and watching me tonight and listening. So anyway, let's go ahead and do this. So it was closing arguments today for Diddy's defense team. You know, the prosecution, they did it yesterday. So today is Diddy's attorneys in their closing arguments. So let's talk about some things that we know that went on today in court. Okay, let's see. So Diddy's lawyers said it wasn't X trafficking. It was one of the great modern love stories. Now, again, that is how lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs in their closing argument on Friday framed for the jury the world of alleged violence, drugs, and in orgies at the heart of the federal case against one of the biggest superstars in the music world. All right. So let me read that over again because I just made some bloopers. All right. That's one thing about lives. When you mess up, you have to, go with the flow. So anyway, let me read that all over again. So in court today, the lawyers for Diddy said it wasn't X trafficking. It was one of the great modern love stories. That is how lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs in their closing argument on Friday framed for the jury the world of alleged violence, drugs, and stage orgies at the heart of the federal case against one of the biggest superstars in the music world. That was better. Now, after the jurors heard weeks of testimony about how Sean Combs allegedly used drugs, violence, and threats to coerce women like his longtime girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, into acts with male escorts, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo argued that Combs and Cassie had a beautiful relationship that was tainted by jealousy and infidelity. Agnifilo said, "You will cry, you will read evidence with an exhibit sticker on it, and you will cry. Some of the most beautiful things ever said," Agnifilo said about the text messages between Combs and Cassie that were central pieces of evidence in the case. He said they are truly in love with each other, and that is what defines their relationship. Okay. Let me show y'all this sketch. I'm sure Diddy Combs is sitting up here looking while Mark Agnifilo, I think that's him, is talking. I think that's him. I got to make sure. Let's make sure. Yeah, that's him. Okay. Now, Combs' relationship with Cassie and another woman who testified under the fake name Jane are the center of federal prosecutors' criminal case against Combs. They argue Combs love bombed the women, pressured them into participating in days-long ex parties called freak-offs or hotel nights. Then he used violence and threats to ensure they stayed quiet about Combs' voyeurism. Okay? Now, after prosecutors presented a lengthy, nearly 5-hour closing statement on Thursday, Mark Agnifilo responded with a 4-hour summation where he openly mocked the prosecution's case at various points and suggested Combs was unfairly targeted by law enforcement over his private ex-life. Thank goodness for the special response team. They found the baby oil. They found the Astroglide. That's what Agnifilo said. He was referencing the hundreds of bottles of lubricants said to have been recovered from Combs' home. The only crime scene is your private ex-life. Now, while Agnifilo acknowledged that Combs might have engaged in domestic violence or threatened to release ex-tapes of his romantic partners, Agnifilo argued Combs is not guilty of the charges he faces, including the allegations he used his business empire to run a criminal organization devoted to fulfilling his sexual appetites. Combs is charged with racketeering, conspiracy, ex-trafficking, and transportation to engage in the P word. He has pleaded not guilty, and his attorneys have insisted that domestic violence and candy use are not the issues in the criminal case that has occupied the tabloids and headlines for weeks. His defense lawyers maintain that all sexual encounters were consensual. Combs faces the possibility of a life sentence if convicted on all counts. The jury of 8 men and 4 women are set to begin deliberating Combs' fate Monday morning, after the judge overseeing the case instructs them on the charges and how to apply the law to the testimony they have heard since mid-May. Okay, so what do y'all think about that so far? How Mark Agnifilo is basically, how he did his closing arguments today, the things that he was saying. Let's see what y'all are saying over here. You said prosecution pretty much went with the money angle. Okay, Diddy done it, and them high-cost lawyers have failed him. Basically, they said these women were not damsels in distress. They were money-hungry accomplices. You said, oh boy, they are admitting to the charges, but want them to call it something else. Okay. All right. Anyway, jurors heard 13 days of testimony from 3 alleged victims who took the stand to help prosecutors build their case against Combs. Cassie, a singer and longtime girlfriend of Combs, and Jane testified Combs pressured them to participate in the ex parties, fearing violence or, harm to their reputation if they refused. A former assistant who testified under the name Mia said the rap mogul actually assaulted and raped her. Anyway, during his summary of the entire, court case, Agnifilo tried to chip away at the credibility of each of the women, arguing they were motivated by money and that prosecutors exaggerated their claims against Combs. The defense cast Cassie as a beautiful woman who loved X, seeking to undermine the government's portrayal of her as a victim of X trafficking. When she wasn't with Sean Combs, she was with Michael B. Jordan, Agnifilo said, of the movie star. He's the most handsome man in the world. She's not messing around. She's at a high level. She has actual confidence. Good for her. She's not clutching her pearls. Like Cassie, Jane was no trafficking victim, the defense lawyer exerted, saying she agreed to the kind of actual activity with male, that Combs desired. She regrets it. She resents him for it. That came later, Agnifilo said. She agreed to it. That's all you need to know, and we can be done with it. Okay? Agnifilo disputed federal prosecutors' contention that Combs used paying Jane $10,000 a month, Jane's $10,000 monthly rent as leverage to coerce her to participate. The thing about it, though, he was already paying for the house. He never stopped paying for the house. So what is the prosecution talking about? He's been paying for the house for the longest. All right. The house is a gesture of kindness, of decency, of niceness, Agnifilo said. I hope she's having a nice day. I don't know what she's doing, but I know she's doing it in a house he paid for. And the thing about it, I don't know why the prosecution is trying to act like he just started paying for that house. Like I just said, he's been paying for the house for the longest. Now, he could have did like I would have done. As soon as I got arrested, the payments would have stopped. All right, point blank, they would have stopped. Now, addressing the allegations of sexual assault and rape made by Mia, Combs' attorney, argued the extra encounters were voluntary. He highlighted the effusive birthday message she sent Combs 1 year to suggest their relationship had crossed from the professional into the romantic. And you know what, y'all? And I know some of y'all don't want to agree with this because for whatever reason, but I honestly believe that him and Maya were having a relationship. I really do. I believe that. I don't believe, everything that she was saying. All right, point blank. I believe that he had relationships with a lot of these people. They agreed to do all of these things. And I also believe that he also probably encouraged or persuaded people to do things as well. And I do believe he did use his money as a leverage in the things he was doing for them to get them to do those freak offs when they didn't want to do it. But I also believe that they wanted to do that at first. And then, sometimes they probably got tired of it because like I said yesterday, the day before that, I believe these women, those three especially those two, wanted a serious relationship with this dude. And they thought engaging in these freak offs would, get them that type of relationship. But instead, the only thing it seems like to me that Sean wanted was these little orgy things going on. And that's it. And they knew this. That's why Cassie was complaining and saying that he was treating her like a call girl or something. And Jane wanted a serious relationship too. And he didn't give them that. He was still playing around. He was still picking up other women. And he was just basically, getting his groove on with whomever he wanted to. He didn't want anything more with them. And I think they got mad. Because why did it take so long for all of these people to come out and say anything? They waited till Cassie did a lawsuit. Then everybody wants to come out. Why didn't these people come out before? There's only one person who was talking about him before, and I forgot her name. That's it. But all these other people did not come out and say a damn thing. All right. So why is it now everybody want to come and tell? Okay. Because look, if he was so powerful back then and they were afraid of him, why aren't they afraid of him now? He still has a lot of power. All right. He has even more power now. Okay. See, me and Jermaine was up last night talking about this entire case, and he brought some new stuff into it. And Jermaine, you can just put it in the chat because I don't remember everything he said. But listen, these people knew what they were getting into. All right. There have been rumors about Diddy for years of beating asses and doing weird shit. All right. Let's keep it real. These people knew this dude was doing a lot of different things. All right. And all of these people got involved with him and did things. All right. I do not believe for 1 minute that these people weren't aware and didn't agree to do things. Then, obviously when things were, they didn't get what they wanted to get from him, then, now, okay, it's a big problem. Now I don't want to do this. Now I can't do it. But they still want him to pay for all their stuff, pay for her house and all that. In one of those text messages, it shows very clearly when he used that little manipulation that he uses and told her, because she didn't want to do Jane, she didn't want to do a freak off, or hotel night or whatever you want to call it. I just call them orgies, okay? And Jane did not want to do it anymore because she wanted a regular relationship with this man. And he just wanted to do the freak offs. So therefore she said she didn't want to do it. And he started talking about he's tired of her. I mean, he's not saying it in these exact words. I'm just putting it in my own way. He's tired of her. He think he need to pull back or fall back. and basically he can't be paying her stuff anymore. And she knew that. So therefore, she wanted to maintain living in that house free, because once you get used to a certain lifestyle, that's what you're used to it. You paying $10,000 a month. You can imagine what that house looks like. Plus, he gave her, I forgot how much, $15,000 to furnish it. To put furniture in there. All right. So you got all this stuff. Then all of a sudden, this man, say, I'm not gonna pay for anything no more. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that, because she wouldn't do the freak off. All right. So she agreed to do it, and he kept on paying. So you see what type of relationship this is, and what he was doing is not right, but it's not a RICO. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I see him, if Cassie would have told a long time ago, I see him with domestic violence charges, okay? It may be great, because if Cassie said no anytime and he forced himself on her, or even Maya, because even if him and Maya did date or was in a romantic relationship, if Mia or Maya said no, you still can't do anything. So if these chicks would have went and filed charges, he would be in trouble for that already, just like Jane. I mean, it's just crazy. And of course, it doesn't make it right. But at the same time, it doesn't make it right for any of them to be doing what they were doing. Okay, how is it right for a woman to basically, use what she got to get, things like money and things like that? So it's not right for none of them to be doing what they were doing. Let's keep it real. The freak offs, the threesomes, whatever you want to call it, that wasn't right. It wasn't right to talk to this man because he can give you things. He can get you in the industry if you knew, it wasn't right just to do that, okay? Just like it wasn't right for him to use his money to make them, or whatever words you want to use, do these things when they didn't want to do it. Because sometimes they did want to do it. All right. They did. Those are in the text messages. All right. These women, then they come out and saying that they're talking to him like this because, he wants them to. What about when they weren't around him? Was he making them talk to him like that then? Okay. Telling him that, I forgot what the messages to say, but they were really, praising him. He wasn't around them then. All right. So for me, I don't see this being really a RICO case like that. All right. I just don't. No, listen. When let me tell you something. I back in I forgot what year it was, 90 something, when I moved to ATL. I had met this dude, right? And I'm thinking the dude is a nice dude, got a good job, career, nice looking dude, dressed good, very polite and everything. And I first found out that he was married. So I told him we cannot date. You know what I'm saying? We could just only be friends. And I mean that. And he did music and I was doing music too. So we used to go to the recording studio together because he had a recording studio and stuff. And he was the perfect gentleman. Then one day he tried to grape me. Okay, and y'all, I'm not joking. When I tell you I locked my legs all the way up, I don't even know how I did that shit, because I don't even think I can do it now. But I locked my legs completely up. He couldn't even get them apart. And he carried a GUN too. Okay. And I told him, if he do not let me go, even if he do this, I promise you I'm going to jail. And I meant that. And he let me go and stuff. And I went home and stuff like that and everything. I didn't talk to him anymore after that, okay? And I was watching the news one day, and here he go getting arrested by the police. It wasn't the police, I guess it was the, I don't know, police, detectives or whatever. They arrested him at the hospital he worked at. Come to find out, this dude is a serial rapist. He was using that same GUN he was showing me to, first he pretend like he have jobs or something. And he'll get the women, the girls or whatever, and he'll get them in his car. Then he'll take them a little somewhere, and then he would take out his GUN and then, rape them. That's what he was, a rapist. I didn't even know it. So the thing is, even though, I know some people victim shame and shit, I didn't give it a crap. Okay. I didn't tell the detectives because he was already, arrested. But if that guy wouldn't have got arrested, I was going to call and do a police report on him for him trying to rape me. I don't give a damn about no victim shaming. If somebody is raping you or trying to rape you, you got to forget about that victim shaming and go ahead and tell on them anyway, so they can get their asses, in trouble, so they won't go out and do that to anybody else. The only reason why I did not say anything to the detectives about Ricky is because Ricky was already in trouble and he already had all those counts. He did like 10 or 15 years in prison for that, if not 20. I don't know, because it was in 90 something, like in 90, I don't know, 94 or 5 or somewhere around that time when he had to go to prison and stuff. And he just got out not too long ago, because I looked him up. So that victim shaming, when somebody violates you like that, women need to stop caring about the victim shaming. Okay, do what you need to do and report these daggone men, women, or whomever. All right, so they won't do it to the next person. It's just like the stuff that happened to me in 2020. I think that was in 2021 here. The dude who followed me he was watching me at the store, but I didn't see him, because you can't see everything. And then he followed me. He waited till I got to talking to these other people, these other guys, went to another store. This dude followed me all the way from one store to the next store, all the way to the lake. All right. And then I walked around the lake by myself, and my kids was like on the other side, and my son was on the other side. And he didn't even care about my son. Okay, but my son was, younger then and shorter and everything. And so when I was walking back to my car, I saw this dude walking up to me, smiling and shit. I'm like saying to myself, what the hell is he walking up close to me for? I'm getting ready to go the other way. And coming up, my daughters walked up behind me, and they was like, see that dude right there? That dude has been following you the whole entire time. And honestly, he turned back around and started walking quickly to his car when he saw my two daughters walk up. And I'm not gonna lie, I forgot that day to call the police, okay? Because I was too busy. I don't know what the hell. We was too busy trying to figure out what the hell is this dude trying to do. He pulled his visor down so we couldn't see him. And it didn't even really cross my mind to even call the police. And then after he got away, that's when I said, damn, we should have got his license plate number so we can call the police. So all I'm trying to say is that we can't be worried about people shaming us or saying something about us. When people do stuff or they're about to do something, like this dude following me and shit, don't tell him what he was trying to do, we need to report that, because you may be saving somebody else's life. Now, hopefully this dude didn't go off and try to kidnap and maybe break somebody else, because I honestly forgot to call the police. He had left. I was too worried about he's going to try to follow us home or something, And just that day, I left my purse and everything in the car. That's nothing. We got to make sure we keep our, stuff on us too. But he don't know I was going to take these long ass fingernails and stick them right in that throat. He would have to fight with me, because he don't know I'll fight your ass back. It's just straight up on everything. And I be trying to fight on a lie. You know what I'm saying? If you try to pull me inside your car. He had what's the name, like my car and stuff. And he looked like he was, I don't know. He wasn't, it didn't look like he was American. It looked like he was, what you call those people? Oh God, he's not African. He was black. I can't remember what you call, I can't remember, but he looks like he was from, I said it before, I can't remember now, but I remember what the guy looked like a little bit. But like what I'm saying is that when people do things to us, or we think they're trying to do something, we need to call law enforcement and report it, regardless if we are victim shamed or whatever the case is. Because when we don't do that, they may go on to do something to somebody else, and you could possibly be saving other people. If Cassie would have told the police, look at all the other people who might not have experienced anything with Sean Diddy Combs. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. We can't be worried about being shamed. She's still being shamed right now. You got people saying negative things about her. He wasn't Arabian, maybe Haitian. And what's the other people? They look like Dominican. That's what he looked like he was. Dominican. Okay. I don't know for sure, because when I was talking to my daughters the other day, they said he wasn't Dominican, but he looked like he was Dominican to me, because they look black. I think they are black too, but a different type of black, but they claim they're not. But that's what he looked like. He was caramel complexion, kind of heavy set and stuff. I don't know how tall he was, about 5'8" or 9" maybe. It was a hot ass mess though, because he followed me. He waited. Y'all know I can talk. I was talking to a whole different dude outside, one in the store. And this dude waited all that time, and he followed me from the 99-cent store to CVS, then to the damn lake. And then he waited until I walked around the lake and came back. Isn't that crazy? You know, so yeah, we have to. We cannot worry about victim shaming, you guys. We can't. Ladies, men either. You need to report stuff because you may be saving somebody else's life. And hopefully that dude didn't go on to do anything to nobody. Because you know, out here in Cali, X trafficking is very high. You know, people grab people for organ harvesting and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just no telling. And just to basically to rape somebody. So you just never know. You know, so that's why you got to really call the police. And don't worry about victim shaming and people talking about you and things like that. The man. Okay, I'll look that up in a minute. So let's see here. You said, okay, so you said it doesn't make it right. Right. We're not saying it does make it right. We're just giving you, you know, telling you exactly, you know, everything that we read, you know, in the text messages and everything else that transpired. You know, we can't listen. We can't sit here and just look at everything on one side, okay? We know Sean Diddy Combs is a piece of you know what, all right? Let's keep it real. But at the same time, you have to look at everything, all right? That's why we are not lawyers because, you know, you can't look at just one side, you know? And I actually was, at first I did want it to be a lawyer and then I wanted to be a juvenile. I still wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a juvenile prosecutor, okay? Because I like to, you know, prosecute people. But anyway, but we're not that here. Okay, so we basically got to try to think about it somewhat like they will. We got to look at everything. We just can't look at stuff one-sided and just say, Sean Diddy Combs just did all this other stuff. But what did these women do too? You know what I'm saying? What did they do? You know, it ain't just about what Sean did, it's what everybody did. We trying to figure out what exactly happened. Did he commit the two elements of it? Did he commit the RICO stuff? You know, you got to have two elements or whatever the case is to prove for it to be considered a RICO. All right. So did he do these things? You see what I'm saying? We just can't be convicting somebody that did not do these things. You know, it's a lot of innocent people or that's incarcerated. And we also got a lot of people who did not do certain crimes. They may have did something else, but they get accused for doing everything. And that's just not right. You know what I'm saying? It's just not right. And like I said the other day, I think that's called extortion, I'm not sure, where he could have possibly where he could have possibly had Cassie's mom go to the bank and do a second mortgage to give him $10,000, or else he was going to leak Cassie's videos. I honestly believe that he probably did that. I want to be perfectly honest about that because he gave her back the money. I mean, the defense attorneys could argue, though, that he didn't do that. He gave her money back because Cassie told him that her mom took out a second mortgage on their home. And so he tried to help them and he gave the money back to the mom. He could easily say that. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if they have actual proof or it's just basically hearsay. All right, but you have to have proof. Okay. But I still say, you know, it's a possibility that he did do that. And then I said the bribery thing with the hotel employees, where he basically said he would give them $100,000 to basically, you know, make the tape go away, the videotape. That could be looked at as bribery. All right, that could be looked at as bribery. But then the defense attorney could say, no, he wasn't trying to really bribe them. What he was doing is basically trying to keep that information from being out to mess up him and Cassie's, you know, careers and reputation and things like that. He wasn't trying to bribe them, but he was also offering money to pay for the hotel and for them just, you know, not to let this get out in the public, to paint a picture of them, you know, that they did not want to get out there. You know what I'm saying? Because they got all this under control. So his defense attorney can say something like that. He probably did say something like that. Right. It only takes one juror. And you got how many? You said 4 females, and the rest of them are men. So you cannot tell me or convince me that some of these people have never, they may not have though, picked up a pea, because I know some dudes have never, picked up no peas and stuff like that. So they may not have, the other men on the jury, they may not have ever paid for X, from no pea or anything, but they may have relatives that have done that, and so they may put themselves in that situation, and somebody may say, oh no, he's not guilty, because a lot of people have, went and bought women for that reason and flew them out to their house, brought them to their house, took them to hotels. That can be looked at as ex trafficking too, because ex trafficking doesn't mean that they have to go from one state to the next state. You can be ex trafficking someone that lives down the street from you, and you just bring them to your house. We looked up the definition. Okay. You say it's not a slam dunk. Okay, we're gonna look up that in a minute. Sick ninja, he definitely is. Okay, because like I said before, I'm not defending him. What I'm saying is that we have to look at everything how it should be looked at. We got to look at everything. All right. And that dude may be Haitian. That's what my daughters them said. They said he was Haitian, so I don't know for sure. But I know one thing: he was an American. Straight facts. Okay, make the report and get it documented right. Even, you know what? Anytime a woman has gotten great, I think she should always go file a report. All right. And you can decide if you want to press charges or not. Okay. Just like even with that dude, Ricky, who tried to do that to me, I could have actually went and made a report, even though he didn't get a chance to, but he tried to. You know what I'm saying? I could have, but I just didn't, and that's nothing. We just got to stop doing it. We just got to go ahead and tell point blank, Let's see what else y'all got. Well, you're right, oh boy. That's not the argument here. We know everybody's not like me. That's why I said that's why I said that we, people should, they should tell, but we're not going to sit here either and say they didn't have the opportunity to tell, because Cassie went to a whole different country. She had time to go date what's his name on the side. They both were cheating. So she had time to do that. When you are petrified of a man, you're not going to be out here cheating, all right? Unless something is wrong with you. She was cheating with a whole damn movie star, a star, okay? So, and then she met her husband while she was with Diddy as well, okay? So, you got all the opportunity to do all of that. So why didn't you use that opportunity as well to let somebody know that this dude is beating the shit out of you and things like that? And then what about all the people who witnessed this and nobody said anything because they were scared that he would retaliate or mess up their career or whatever? No one said a word all these years. All right, that's crazy. But then Jermaine did explain some things to me last night. And when I look at it that way, then I may kind of understand why some of them did not say anything, because we may be dealing with higher type situations than what we think. That's what I'm trying to say without really saying too much. And if that's the case, then I can see why no one said anything. But the thing is, though, if they were so scared of that, why are they saying something now? Okay, it doesn't even add up. If you were afraid of this man years ago, and just say if he is included into some weird type of shit, wouldn't you still be afraid of that now? You would still be afraid of that, because these same people could still do something to you now, and even more so. So I don't know, if I actually buy into that 100%, because if you were afraid of stuff like that back then, you should still be afraid. I just think Sean Diddy Combs done pissed these people off, all right? And then they start remembering the times when they did not want to do these orgies, and he made them do it by telling them he's not going to do certain things for them anymore, maybe hitting like Cassie and things like that, or whomever else. Yeah, that's what I think really happened. I don't know for sure, but I'm just thinking. And now, everybody trying to get his ass back and make him pay for all that, So let's see here where we was at. So anyway, where did I stop here? Okay, so I said Agnifilo tried to, okay, I think I already read that, where he said that they were motivated by money, and the prosecution exaggerated their claims against Combs. Okay, let's see. I think I read all of that. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I read all of this. Hold on, I'm just trying to see what did I read. Okay, hold on. And just like with Maya, okay, so the defense attorney said that those encounters were consensual, okay, voluntary. And I believe that most of them probably was, but I also believe that he could have forced himself on her. I don't know if he did or not, but sometimes some men think because you are, giving them something, they think they can always get it. Or if they, if you guys are dating or whatever you want to call it, they figure that they can just always get it when they want it. And she could have told him no, and he could have just did it anyway. So that would still fall into great, okay, point blank. So I do believe he probably did, do things with them when they did not want him to, period. I do believe that. But still, if he did do that, is that part of a RICO case? Okay. Anyway, defense tries to dismantle the racketeering predicates. Now, in response to prosecutors' allegations that Combs used security guards, the staff in assistance to commit crimes, Agnifilo mocked prosecutors for suggesting that Combs' actions were part of a broader criminal organization. He said, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If racketeering conspiracy had an opposite, it would be Combs and Cassie's relationship." Agnifilo tried to distance Combs from some of the underlying crimes that prosecutors say Combs agreed to commit with other members of the alleged enterprise, including arson, which they do not have no concrete evidence of, kidnapping, and bribery. The kidnapping stems from, what did they say last night? When one of the chicks, I forgot the name, they kept her in a building for 5 days or something like that, while I think the one they accused of stealing something, and they was questioning her and stuff like that. And then the other one is keeping Cassie inside the hotel when I think they said that Combs must have beat her up or something, so her all her stuff was showed to the public. Okay, so they were trying to say that's kidnapping. Okay, so if he, I don't know, because if he made them stay there, they couldn't leave. You can't look at that as kidnapping. All right, and that's all I got to say about that. And then the bribery, like I just said, with the hotel thing. All right. Now, prosecutors allege Combs orchestrated the firebombing of the luxury sports car of the rapper Kid Cudi after learning the fellow musician was seeing Cassie in 2011. I forgot all about him. All right. Agnifilo called the claim nonsense and argued no evidence directly linked Combs to the crime. And that's what I'm talking about. How can you say for sure that this man did this if you don't have any proof that he did it? And I agree with Agnifilo. There's no evidence. All it is hearsay. Okay? He said there is no evidence. I mean, no evidence that he had anything to do with the Porsche. All right? Now, federal prosecutors argue Combs and his associates were worried about being arrested after the attack on Cassie caught on 2016 hotel surveillance cameras and sought to bribe a security guard in return for the footage. Agnifilo said Combs had a different motive, distrust of hotel staff. I knew he was going to use that, because what defense attorney wouldn't? I would use it. I would have said just what I just said to you guys, okay? that he did not want the public to see this because it's going to mess up their reputation. And you know, clearly they got back together. So why let the public see this and blow everything out of proportion, you know? And he wanted to make sure that nobody don't put that video out or try to bribe him in a long term with the video, which that's what they did. All right. So anyway, Agnifilo said money is involved and people want a payday. Telling the jury hotel staff may have been willing to sell the video of someone as famous as Combs. They are not worried about the police. And you know what? Honestly, I can see where they are going with that right there, because you would be concerned about that, you know. But at the same time, you can still, you know, the prosecution can still say he was trying to bribe them. So we're going to see how that's going to play out. You know, if the jury is going to buy what the prosecution said, or the defense said. Okay. Because I mean, you have to look at this in both ways. Okay. Did Combs try to bribe them, or did he try to stop them from showing the video because he did not want people to see what was going on with them? And he also probably thought that they may make copies and try to sell them and get money. You got to look at it all at different levels. Anyway, Agnifilo questioned the allegations of Combs' one-time personal assistant, Capricorn Clark, who testified she was forced to submit to a 5-day lie detector. That's the one who said she was left, you know, they put her in a abandoned, not abandoned, but in an office room or something, and had her in the room for 5 days while they questioned her about some jury. Anyway, Agnifilo questioned the allegations of Combs' one-time personal assistant, Capricorn Clark, who testified she was forced to submit to a 5-day lie detector test after Combs' jewelry went missing. Prosecution said this amounted to kidnapping. Okay, so he said she went home every day. She went home, you guys. She went home every day. So if she went home every day, that's not kidnapping. See, I didn't even know she went home every day. That's why I kept saying, if what she said is true, because we don't know. Did she really sit there for 5 days and wasn't allowed to leave? Okay, Agnifilo says she went home every day. So what is the government alleging? He said, I have no doubt that she was unsettled, but she was not kidnapped. So that's what I'm telling you guys. You got to look at all of the story. You just can't listen to just one side, like, you know, just the prosecution side or just the defense side. You have to listen to all sides. And you said not if those same people wrote the script. What you mean, Jermaine? You talking about the stuff I was just saying when I said about the people at the top level. I see what you're saying. If they wrote this entire script, then they would not be afraid now, because they know nothing is going to happen to them, right? Because they know what they're trying to get accomplished with Sean Combs. Now, just tell me if I'm right. So anyway, he went on to say, not him, but actually after hours of defense closing arguments, prosecutor Maureen Comey addressed the jury. She denounced the defense summation for insinuating the women wanted it, telling jurors it defied logic to think Cassie wanted an escort to urinate on her or to go through other elements of the X sessions. She said, what we are talking about is being in a dark hotel room, awake for days, covered in oil, often with a urinary tract infection, in heels, with your pelvic area sore, having X for hours, including with strangers. The defense wanted you to believe Cassie and Jane wanted that. That's ridiculous on his face. Comey told jurors they must find one freak off when Combs knew he was using force, fraud, or coercion to gain Cassie or Jane's compliance in order to convict Combs of X trafficking. The defendant never thought the women he abused would have the courage to speak out loud about what he had done with him. For 20 years, the defendant got away with his crimes. That ends in this courtroom. 20 years is a long time, you guys, okay? And the thing about it is, that's why I said from the get-go, if he was doing weird shit, it should have been reported a long time ago, all right? Because then all this other stuff, we wouldn't even be talking about it, all right? Point blank. You said Jack Johnson, 1913, the first black heavyweight boxing champion, was convicted under the Mann Act for taking his white girlfriend across state lines. It was pure racial punishment. Okay, but let's look up, hold on, let's look up two things. Let's look up the Mann Act, or Main Act. Hold on. Hold on. Is it Mann Act? Okay, so the Mann Act, also known as the White Slave Traffic Act of 1910, is a U.S. federal law that prohibits the transportation of people across state or national borders for illegal extra activities. The act was passed in 1910 to combat human trafficking and the P word, and it is named after Illinois Congressman James Robert Mann. The Mann Act applies regardless of consent, as the interstate transportation itself triggers federal jurisdiction. Okay, so with Jermaine showing that Mann Act, so it said regardless of consent, so they can still, I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer, so, but anyway, I'm just thinking maybe they can still say ex trafficking. Is that what you said, Jermaine? Okay. And then you said Chuck Berry, 1959, rock and roll icon, convicted for allegedly transporting a 14-year-old Mexican girl, though Berry insisted she misrepresented her age in the prosecution state of racism. Okay. So that Mann Act was originally aimed at combating white slavery and human trafficking. But now, like I just said, it's a U.S. federal law that makes it a crime to transport someone across state lines for the purpose of the P word or other immoral purposes. A lot of people would be guilty of this, for real. A lot of people. Okay, let's keep it real. So that's why they got him with ex trafficking, because even if they consented, if I'm understanding this correctly from what Jermaine just sent me, even if they consented according to the Mann Act, they can still possibly charge him with ex trafficking if that's what it actually was. Okay, thank you, Jermaine. And they said over time, the phrase of immoral purposes has been interpreted to include consensual extra activities, even when it's not related to the P word. Now, they do have some controversy about that Mann Act, okay? Because it's used in prosecuting consensual relationships, especially those involving interracial couples or people in the public eye. Okay, so that's the controversy. So I don't know, Jermaine, for sure, because they said it's controversial. So they did make some amendments. The law has been amended over the years, including clarifying that it does not apply to legal, non-commercial extra activities, because at first it applied to what I just said. So they did amend that part of it. All these people was convicted of me for that. But it's yeah, ex trafficking is a part of a. That's one of the elements of a RICO, right? Let's see. Wait a minute, hold on, y'all. I'm looking at something. A RICO. You know, I'm looking it up. It is. So, okay. So if they find out, if they agree that he did ex traffic Jane and Cassie, because he has 2 charges of ex trafficking, that would be one of the elements, right, for the RICO Act. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so you said it's still vague and can be selectively enforced, especially against Black men in high profile or politically sensitive cases. That's my point. Okay. See how Jermaine coming through with these facts. All right. Now, let's look up sex trafficking. Sorry, YouTube. Damn. You keep on saying that X thing. See, that's what I was trying to tell y'all. With ex trafficking, they say the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another for the purpose of sexual exploitation. So that's what ex trafficking is. But like you said, Jermaine, they probably going on that Mann Act, because the Mann Act goes into even more. Because they say even if the actual thing is consensual, they can still consider that as ex trafficking under the Mann Act. I think I got that right. Gosh. So like I said, that'll be one element of the RICO. Now the second one, what did you say the second one would be, Jermaine? The second element, did you say that would be the one that they know they have concrete proof of? Not the Cassie thing with the mom, because I don't know if they have concrete proof of that, but maybe the bribery, because they don't have concrete proof of the arson stuff or anything like that. Probably so. The Mann Act, that's what they probably use. You're right. And that's what they're probably trying to use on Diddy, because you just can't say the ex trafficking alone, right? They're gonna probably use that Mann Act, the bribery. That's the hotel thing. Yep, the bribery, the hotel thing. Because he should, I mean, even though he can say, and the defense attorneys already said this, like I said, he can easily say, okay, I gave them 100,000 so they can go get all the copies of the tape because I didn't want anybody to see it and, be selling it, trying to make money off of it and things like that. Because remember, the hotel dude said that he wanted to show his wife or girlfriend the tape so she can believe him. Okay? I hope they use that part of that. So if they use that Mann Act, because ex trafficking said you transport a person for actual exploitation, but the Mann Act goes into more of a detailed thing. See, with the ex trafficking, you have to use force, fraud, or coercion. But with the Mann Act, they said it can even be consensual when you're dealing with a person that sells whatever the case is. If I understood that correctly. So that's what they probably using on him. So that would be 2 elements of the RICO. The bribery, if they can prove that's exactly what he was doing. Because the defense says no. Diddy says no, that's not what he was trying to do. So it just all depends on what the jury believe. Because remember, they are in the courtroom. They're seeing him. They're seeing his reactions and everything. So it depends on what they say. And then the judge, Now, judge, what's his name? Submarinian. It look like he plays hard. So I don't know. But those jurors who will vote guilty or not guilty, it takes just one person to say not guilty. Okay, so those are two. And what else do we have to question? That's basically it, because they can't really use domestic violence because that's out of RICO. But the bribery, which I think he was stupid for even offering them money, but it is what it is. It's already done. And then, of course, the Mann Act stuff with this ex trafficking. Also, don't forget though, because they trying to say he had a criminal organized enterprise, right? When he paid for stuff using his company's account, like Bad Boy and his other company and stuff, I think that was a crazy thing to do right there for sure. Because that's the way they try to, tie him into the criminal enterprise. Plus, they claim prosecution claims that he used his employees to help conceal stuff, to help do things and things like that, to go get the DRUGS and all that type of stuff. And don't forget about the distribution. Remember, at first I thought that he had to basically be selling it, but you don't have to be selling anything. You could just be giving other people some candy, and he was doing that. All right. You said they have 3. What's the third one? Did I just say it? Because we know what 2 of them are. What's the third one? I think it's that distribution, right? Okay, because again, like I said, most people, including myself at first week, I thought that you had to basically sell it. No, you could just be giving it out to people. And he was giving it out, to people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know I can't remember what Agnafilo said regarding that, about that. He said he's not a, what's the name, distributor or nothing like that. So I don't know. I think he said he did not give, I forgot what Agnafilo said. Or Tini. I forgot what they said. The 3 I just named. But anyway, we're going to see how all of this plays out, because we're not lawyers. We're just looking at the case, just guessing based on what I'm looking up, the definitions and things like that. So, hold on, let me just say the story real quick. Damn. Oh, I remember this. Damn, that was that long ago. Let me just hold this real quick. Yeah, but like I was saying, we're not lawyers. So we'll just see, because I think the defense made a strong case today in the closing arguments, and the prosecution did yesterday and stuff. So we will just see, how the jurors are going to, what they're going to decide. If I was on a team, I don't know, because the way we just sat here and explained it right now, and then this is the same thing that the jury would do. All right. I probably would have to say guilty. I hate to say that, because if we're sitting here and I'm looking up everything and I'm looking at the Mann Act, and all of this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't say not guilty now after reading all of that. Now, yesterday I said not guilty, but today I just changed it because, Jermaine just brought up the Mann Act, and, we already knew about the bribery thing, but I was looking at the ex trafficking thing. We already talked about the bribery and the DRUG distribution. So I would probably have to change it and say, guilty based on those things right there. We will see. So Jermaine said he will be found guilty. That's what we was talking about last night. But we will see if he is found guilty, what's going to happen after that. Will his friend Donald Trump pardon him? So that's something to see. Okay, let me see what else I got here. I made a mistake in close. Oh, here it is right here. Let's make sure I got everything right there. Okay. So let's see what else I got for Sean Diddy Combs. We was talking about for about an hour already, you guys. What time is it? Okay, let me hurry up. So I think I just covered everything in the closing argument. Because I already told you, his defense attorney said, the lead defense attorney said, Agnifilo said, this is about love and jealousy. So I did tell you guys about that. And money. And so let's see here. So let me tell you about this part real quick. I think it's the same thing that I read before, but it's just saying it a different way. So Agnifilo claimed the government distorted Sean's consensual extra lifestyles into criminal acts, while witnesses spoke of the successful Black entrepreneur as a respected and generous figure. Agnifilo praised Combs' past, suggesting the accusations against him paint a false, exaggerated picture. The defense attorney argued the case is about love, jealousy, and money, not trafficking or racketeering, and accused the government of putting on a show to target a wealthy celebrity. For the government to call this a racketeering enterprise, Agnifilo said, "Are you kidding me? That's the fake trial I'm about to tell you about. I'm telling you about." Now, throughout his closing arguments, Agnifilo kept returning to the point. Don't listen to the other trial, which is the fake trial. Listen to the real trial. Okay? And then Prosecutor Maureen Comey returned to the floor to present the government's rebuttal, following the end of the defense's statements and prosecutors' own closing arguments on June the 26th, which lasted about 6 hours. Mr. Agnifilo suggested Cassie was the winner of a prize. Black eyes, a gash in her head, getting peed in her mouth. How could anyone think that's a prize? That's ridiculous. Hey. The thing about it though, I got to say something about that. The black eyes, no. The gash in the head, no. Getting urinated in the mouth, probably not. But let me tell you something. These people all was doing some freaky shit. All right, all of it. Because for me personally, doing the orgies and shit, if you're doing orgies with all these different people, I mean, because remember, she wanted to do them sometime. All right, that's freaky, period, to me. All right, having all these different men, you know what I'm saying, inside and things like that, every single damn, all night and day. That's just weird to me. Just a freak show, period. So anyway, on Monday, the jury will return for instructions from Judge Aaron Submaranian before gathering for deliberations, okay? So that's what they're going to be doing on Monday. And I think that they said they get 4 hours to deliberate. So let's see here. I don't know how long they get. Because they told us last time. So basically, if they find one freak off video where it looks like Cassie was coerced or forced, then there you go. Okay. But I don't know if they have anything like that. Because remember, we didn't see the videos, but they did see it. So I don't know if they saw that or not. So let me read this part because I did not see this. Okay, so anyway, the prosecutor, Comey, argued that the defense attorney, Agnifilo, that he was trying to say that Cassie and Jane and Maya are liars because, of course, they wanted it. Contradicting Agnifilo, Kami said this was different from preference for the beach or lemonade. These women were awake for days, covered in oil, wearing 8-inch heels, often with UTI and having unprotected you know what with strangers. She said it's different from someone going along like lemonade. What the defense is suggesting is that these women lied to you repeatedly. But these women have no reason to lie. They have no motive to lie at all. Cummings said that Cassie was already paid $20 million by Combs the day after filing her suit against him, and she was not expecting a dollar more for her testimony. Cummings questioned why Cassie would agree to have the freak-off videos played in front of the jury, because Cassie was someone who was standing up for what is right. Cummings said Combs' ex-assistant Maya also wasn't getting paid or trying to extract fame. On the contrary, she uses a pseudonym and was terrified of taking the stand. Maya physically folded on the stand, shrinking and sobbing as she was asked to recount the horrible experiences she alleged. Maya is not a trained actor. No one is handing out Oscars or Tonys for her performance in the courtroom. Cummings said Combs' ex-lover Jane never sued, adding that because Combs still pays Jane's rent, Jane has a financial incentive, if any, to help the defense in Combs. If Jane was going to come here to lie, it would be to help the defendant, Cummings said. Cummings also talked about the confusing feelings about untangling love and abuse, noting victims will often try to justify what happened to them. Finding meaning and happiness in trauma does not mean the trauma never happened. It's healing. And then she went over again that Combs ran a criminal enterprise fueled by his employees' help. Cummings said Combs is a man who could not get his own water bottle or plug in his own phone. Of course, he wouldn't be able to do this alone, she said. He's the general, not a foot soldier. Combs' business had a dual purpose, lawful and unlawful. And then she brought up Kid Cudi stuff. And then she looked at KK, Christina, Cora Ram, and D Rock. Okay. Okay, so then Agnifilo came back up again, and he took the opportunity to minimize the alleged criminal conduct of Combs, his employees, KK, and D-Rock. He said they are just nice and friendly and helpful. KK is the single most helpful person everyone should have a KK. He said the government makes it sinister that he has security. Of course he has security at his level. And then Agnifilo told the jury, today you guys are the United States of America. This is your house. I'm asking you to acquit Sean Combs. He also said Combs sits there innocent. Return him to his family who have been waiting for him. And then Agnifilo took aim again at U.S. attorneys when he said the Cassie lawsuit went out and these guys wanted to make a case because of Sean Combs. It's not a real case. And then he continued to cast doubt on the government's case against Combs by taking aim at Los Angeles police and Homeland Security investigations finding, pointing to Andre Lemon's June 13 testimony. The attorney said the agent was unsure whether firearms were recovered at Combs' LA home. Were they in a safe? They brought out a big, nasty, scary GUN for what purpose? To scare you? Agnifilo said. He also brought up questions around LA law enforcement's testimony, noting the possible female DNA found on the glass bottle that exploded Kid Cudi's Porsche, as well as the fingerprints that went missing or were destroyed after that. At what point do you stop trusting the government? It takes a lot of courage to acquit, Agnifilo said. And then he said the police found hundreds of bottles of Astroglide baby oil at Sean Diddy's homes. He also touched on the freak-off videos that were only shown to jurors as evidence of alleged ex-trafficking. He set aside the extra aspect and cast the footage as indicative of a nice mood. Looking at the videos, they go to a nice dinner, they go to a nice hotel. Put aside the ex, and what you have left is this beautiful evening. Everyone is smiling, laughing, listening to music, talking, and just hanging out. That's what Agnifilo said. He said that's a genuine intimacy and a nice quality to these evenings. The physical intimacy is not aggressive in any way. It's homemade, PORN. That's really what it is. And I don't think by any stretch this is the only man in America making homemade PORN. And I figured he was going to say that. And he just told you basically what was on those videos. So what is the prosecution talking about when they said, look at, just find one video that shows that it's forced? If this defense attorney is saying that everybody, what did he say that? He said the physical intimacy is not aggressive in any way. They're saying that right there. He said it's homemade PORN, okay? And then he talked more about Jane trying to paint her as a gold digger. What am I getting out of it that the world can see, he asked. From Jane's perspective, Agnifilo said, it was all about getting the bags, the jewelry, the trips, social media pictures, dinners, the house, and things that she could show off. I don't know why. I was trying to figure out why the prosecutor said that they didn't get anything. They're not getting anything for, doing what they're doing. Of course, they're not getting anything extra right now because they got every damn thing. You know what I'm saying? They got everything. She's living in a $10,000 per month mansion. He bought her handbags, jewelry, got her teeth done, trips, social media pictures, dinners, and whatever else. He gave her $15,000 or $25,000 to buy furniture in the house. So what else? Damn, they got everything. Cassie, she got 20 million plus another 10 million. That's $30 million. You can collect all this stuff, and then whatever you hate about this man, you can go ahead and tell it all to go ahead and get these charges on him to put him away. So now you got the money and you got him locked up. Anyway, he said, you guys know who her baby father is, and you know who she was with in Vegas. He was referencing facts that were never confirmed in the trial. He also added that she was drawn to that kind of strata. That's just how she moves. Okay. And then Agnifilo attempted to push back against the woman called Maya. He said there is every reason to think that what Maya did in the courtroom was acting. All right. He said that's every indication that Maya loved working at this company. He said that the birthday video that Maya made for Combs was the real her. She put on a false persona in the courtroom. In the video, she was bubbly, she was outspoken, she was happy. In the video, that's what I'm saying, this stuff don't add up. And then she said she got PTSD. Now, in terms of the allegation that Combs actually assaulted Maya multiple times, Agnifilo said this was undoubtedly a series of consensual things. He told the court the only reason Combs and Maya covered it up was to hide it from Cassie. And I believe that. because her and Cassie was close friends. Agnifilo said platonic relationships are possible, but the feelings that Maya had for Mr. Combs went way deeper. And I believe that. All right. Agnifilo talked about all of Maya's effusive social media posts and how she made a book of press clippings for Combs' 45th birthday. He said this was not a part of her job. If there ever was an act of love, this is it. Agnifilo put on a show with the book, saying, "Look at this. This is a young man. His whole life ahead of him. It's remarkable." And then he reads Maya's birthday message she had written in the book. She says she loves him. You can't fake that, Agnifilo said. Yeah, Maya. And then he talked about Combs' alleged 2018 rape of Cassie. Agnifilo said Cassie, now husband Alex, called when she was having sex with Combs. You get this, you guys? And she told him that she had been raped. So she had to stick with the story. All right? She's in a bind, Agnifilo said. She has to do the oldest trick in the book. She has to say he raped her because her now husband called while they were having sex. She doesn't want to give up on the rape because she already told that to her husband, Agnifilo said. Agnifilo cast doubt on the great timeline, claiming Cassie would have had sex with Combs in September if he raped her in August. Agnifilo also talked about Cassie's testimony about the pain she said she faced. "I was gripping my chair. Whoa, what is she going to say?" Agnifilo said that, sarcastically, before quoting Cassie Fine, who said the most painful thing was the shame. Agnifilo said only someone in love can respond that way. And then he talked about Combs and Cassie arguing over the freak-offs. He said the freak-offs was the same as some couples disagreeing over going to the beach or drinking strawberry lemonade, adding that your likes become one as a couple. So basically he's saying that Cassie liked doing the freak-offs too. Okay? Then he invoked Cassie's brief ex-boyfriend, Michael B. Jordan. And then he was trying to describe what Cassie liked. He said Agnifilo said that she dated Michael B. Jordan, who is the most handsome man in the world. Okay. Combs' attorneys previously scrutinized Cassie's other relationships, saying that Combs suspected that she was in a relationship with the Emmy-nominated actor after the pair broke up in 2015. At the time of their split, the singer-actress was filming a movie in South Africa. Okay. So in his closing arguments, Agnifilo pushed back against the idea that the Bad Boy Records founder ex-trafficked his ex-girlfriend Cassie. He said there's a lot more dirty talk in this case than most criminal cases by a long shot. He went on to say that it wasn't trafficking, it's the ex that they are having. He's not making any money from this. They are swingers. It's their lifestyle. The evidence is overwhelming that Cassie wanted to do this. Actual swinging, a consensual but non-monogamous actual behavior takes place when singles or partners in committed relationships engage in intimate acts. And during a court hearing, April the 25th, less than 2 weeks before the trial began, May the 5th, Agnifilo started laying the groundwork for his client's legal defense, suggesting behavior prosecutors have painted as illegal was simply the result of actual swinging. At the time, Agnifilo said in court that it was a lifestyle that Combs had added to call it swingers. Now, referencing an incident in which Cassie allegedly stayed in a London hotel for a week to hide the injuries Combs had inflicted, Agnifilo said it was a one for the ages kidnapping, saying that she wanted to go to Combs' house but was forced to stay at the hotel. When you want to go to the house of the guy charged with the kidnapping, it's not a kidnapping. All right, so he's explaining everything. Y'all listening? They don't want bad press. That's what he said about Cassie and Sean turning to the hotel cover-up in which Combs allegedly paid large sums of cash to make a video of him beating Cassie go away. Agnifilo said they are not worried about the police. They are worried about bad publicity. It's a horrible video. It's a misdemeanor, he added, saying repeated calls from Combs to Cassie after the incident were just trying to get her attention. Now, Agnifilo did not deny that Combs went over to rapper Kid Cudi's house, noting they were fighting over a woman, Cassie. At the risk of sounding sexist, they were going to do what men do, having a good old-fashioned fist fight. A good old-fashioned John Wayne 8 in the morning in the Hollywood Hills fist fight. There were no weapons. They were going to settle it like men. Blowing up a man's car is cowardly. He's going to fight him because that's who he is. He's not going to blow up his car. And then he added that the Los Angeles Fire Department investigation into this alleged arson attack stunk. The investigation leader tried to track down Cassie. He tried to track down Capricorn. I wonder if that's a coincidence, he said to the jurors. And then he returned to December 2011 incident in which Combs is alleged to have shown up at Capricorn's Clark apartment with a GUN. Agnifilo said, I'm going to go through 5 reasons why he didn't have a GUN. One of those reasons he suggested was that Clark was obsessed with Combs. She was probably waiting for him to come over at the 5:30 in the morning for years. She loved him. He didn't need a GUN, he told jurors, adding that Clark would go to the moon with Combs if he asked. Wow. Another reason he cited was that Combs had everything to lose and nothing to gain from having a GUN. There's no way on God's green earth that Combs would show up with a GUN, he said. Capricorn would not have stayed employed if he had pulled a GUN on her. Kid Cudi and Cassie never testified that Clark had told them Combs had a GUN. And that's what Agnifilo pointed out, noting that the GUN and KILL are 2 of the most memorable words in the English language, and they would have remembered Clark saying that. Agnifilo then said again, it was not a kidnapping. She doesn't want to say that she was there because she wanted to be. So she makes up a GUN. So let's see what else I got. So then he zeroed in on Cassie's Instagram post from May 2024, where she said domestic violence is the issue. Okay, let's see. He said she could have said coerced sex with men is the issue. She could have said running away from freak-offs is the issue. But she said domestic violence is the issue. Her words in the Instagram post, he said, when she says domestic violence is the issue, I say believe her. All right? You know, I said something about that too. I said, why is she just talking about the domestic violence? She could have just said, about the coerced ex, the freak. She didn't even have to say it. She could have just said the freak offs. The freak offs was just ridiculous, and I just couldn't get down with that. Okay, she didn't even mention anything about that. So as Combs' lawyers' closing arguments continued, he invoked race and diversity, equity and inclusion initiative, DEI. He said it was real. It was the diversity. And that's what Agnifilo said about working for Combs. He brought up DEI, saying that Combs was doing this in 1993 as a 24-year-old. Not because some government told him to, but because that's just who he is. Okay? Combs' lawyer Agnifilo said, for the government to call this a racketeering enterprise, are you kidding me? That's the fake trial I'm telling you about. And then Agnifilo said the trial had been about multiple things, none of which are ex-trafficking, racketeering, or transportation to engage in the P word. Okay? The trial is about love, he said, noting the word has been said 881 times throughout the proceedings. The trial is about infidelity. It is so much about jealousy, Agnifilo added. He then turned to Cassie's testimony, noting that in their cross-examination of her, we didn't ask her a single thing about being hit, being kicked, being dragged. We owned it. It happened. That's not charged. That's part of the fake trial. Now, Combs' defense team is hinging their success on the idea that jurors will decide that the music mogul may be a domestic abuser, but that does not make him a criminal kingpin. All right? We wouldn't all be sitting here because he would have pled guilty, Agnifilo said, of the possibility of a trial on domestic violence charges instead. He said Combs is going to fight to the death to the DATH to defend himself against the racketeering and ex-trafficking charges. All right? And they actually said we wouldn't all be sitting here because he would have pled guilty to the possibility of a trial on domestic violence charges. Okay? And then he said instead, he said Combs is going to fight to the to defend himself against the racketeering and ex-trafficking charges because he said he's not guilty of that. Guilty of domestic violence and the things that went with it, but not guilty of racketeering and ex-trafficking charges. So that's why I said to Jermaine and to everybody, I'm not a lawyer. I can't say. I mean, it sounds like, the man act and all that stuff, but we're not lawyers. So we don't know how they are going to play this all out, period. All right. And then again, he went on to call the trial the false trial, the exaggerated trial, and effusively thanked the jurors for their attention. He said they are a credit to the jury system and to our country. Agnifilo began by calling Combs a successful Black entrepreneur, adding that he would like to think that there are thousands of them, but sadly, I don't think there are. Agnifilo reiterated how many witnesses came into the courtroom and said they were moved by Combs, recounting how witnesses described working for him as going to Harvard Business School, the single greatest experience of my life. He made my world so much bigger. He taught me how to have a work ethic. Combs' lawyers have long stated that Combs may not be likable, but he is also not guilty of the federal X charges against him. Did they always like him? No way. Let's not even go there. But they loved him. Even the ones who are suing him, they loved him. They didn't want to leave him. The women who testified as Maya, Agnifilo continued, said she was suicidal after leaving Combs' employment. Was it always easy? No, but sometimes the best things in life are hard. This is how you build character. And then Agnifilo became more forceful, adopting an almost sarcastic tone with jurors. And then he said that he mentioned Jane. He said, I hope she's having a nice day. But do you know where she's doing it at? In the house he's paying for. Okay. Jane alleged that Combs used the fact that he paid for her home to coerce her into X acts and confirmed that he still pays her rent. Agnifilo then turned to the federal raids on Combs' various homes. He said, I guess that's all worth it. Boxes and boxes of Astroglide. They got it. The streets of America are safe from the Astroglide. Thank God for the special response team. They got the baby oil. Way to go, fellas. In the photos of the hotel room and houses the federal agents had raided, Agnifilo suggested that the government was putting on a show with excessive yellow crime tape. You know, it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws. We need a bigger boat. We need a bigger crime scene tape. And he continued hammering home this point that the whole ordeal had been for show. He said, this isn't about a crime. It's about money. Cassie sued Sean Combs for $30 million because he has $30 million. In 2023, Cassie filed a civil suit against Combs, which was settled within a day. She later revealed on the stand that the lawsuit was settled for $20 million. And then he characterized the proceedings as a tale of two trials. There's one trial of evidence and one from the mouth of prosecutors, he said. The prosecutor's version of events, he said, is nothing like what the evidence shows. And that's what I was telling you guys. The prosecution, besides maybe the possibility of the bribery, and what was the other thing? Yeah, the bribery. And of course, we know he beat the shit out of Cassie. And maybe, I don't know with Cassie's mom. I don't think they have actual evidence with that. But with the bribery, it may be some evidence. And of course, with the beating Cassie, but he's not on trial for domestic violence. And then we're looking at the ex-trafficking thing. But you don't really see no real proof of anything. Besides, maybe, like I just said, the things I just said. Okay. So then he said, he described Combs' behavior, which included days-long freak-offs, ex-parties, and heavy DURG use as a lifestyle. He said, you want to call it swingers, you want to call it threesomes, whatever it is. He was chastising prosecutors for trying to claim Combs' ex-life was one of the most serious, complicated, comprehensive criminal acts. All right? So there it is, you guys. I told y'all everything. I'm not going to read prosecutions again because they're repeating everything. And I just told you everything that they said. So the jury is going to go into deliberation on Monday after Judge Submarinian does the instructions to the jury, so they can know, how to go about deciding if Sean Diddy Combs is guilty or non-guilty. And then you have to also ask this too. You have to wonder too, what happened to all those daggone girls that I talked about in my lives that claim that Sean Diddy Combs did things to them? Why weren't any of these girls, these ladies, on the witness stand? Not witness, the witness, I guess. Why weren't they there? And what about the ones who said they were in cages, there were little kids there, all types of stuff? Did all these people lie? What happened to all that stuff? What about the celebs that these women said were at these freak-off parties, and some of these celebs had ex with them? What happened to all that? None of these people were on the stand. And no children were brought up. What else? Nothing about secret tunnels, cages. None of this stuff was brought up. Okay, so you said, oh boy, it's the defense's job to rule out lies. It's also their job to make the truth look and sound like lies. They are good. I just don't think they're good enough to get him off. Okay. Jermaine said, didn't Kid Cudi have ex-girlfriend issues at the time? I don't know for sure. He probably did. He said, no, he wouldn't. He denied he did it until the tape got leaked. Of course he's going to deny it. Shit, look at me. Listen, If you listen, a lot of men have engaged in domestic violence, but some of these same men will sit here and talk about Sean Diddy Combs and deny they never hit a woman, and you go look them up, they have. So that's not uncommon. That's what they do. That's why he was trying to get them to give him all of the copies, because he didn't want nobody to know that he was beating the hell out of Cassie. Okay? So that just proved that he could have not been trying to bribe them. He could have just simply wanted them not to show it because he didn't want nobody to know that he beat the hell out of that girl. He may not have been thinking about no police because it's a misdemeanor. They proved the RICO already by law. Will the jury see that way is another thing, so I get it. We don't have to lawyers just being able to read and comprehend. We're not saying that you have to be a lawyer. What I'm saying that we don't know all of the laws, okay? They can pull things that we may not know about. Oh boy, all right? They can pull things that we may not know about because we don't know everything that they know because they practice law. That's why they have their law degree and we don't. You say either way they're a lying or there is a cover up, right? They took the money like many do, which is sad. Well, you know, honestly, it's just like this. If a man that you like, because I'm assuming they like, you know, him, Jane and Cassie, they probably like Sean Combs because Jane did say she loved him, and I believe Cassie did too. And this man is filthy rich and he's offering you shit. You know they're going to take the money. Come on. You got men who was taking money from him. All right. So you know they're going to take the money. And they like I said, we know that they did agree to have these freak offs, but I still believe that they, you know, when they got mad, when they got tired of doing it because, you know, they weren't getting everything they wanted. I believe they wanted a one-on-one relationship with Sean Combs, and he just wasn't buying. He didn't want to do it. He just wanted to do those freak offs. Cassie even said something like that, and I think Jane did too. So you can clearly see what this is all about. All right, period. Yeah, Sean did some things that he shouldn't have been doing. You know what I'm saying? But I still say, unless they can prove that he did do X trafficking using the Mann Act, you know, I still say, you know, the RICO thing. And then they say he ran the whole criminal enterprise. But he did mess up paying for stuff in his business name, but maybe he didn't think it was against the law or something. I don't know. I can't speak for him. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said we are not lawyers, because they know more stuff than we do. And they can, you know, do stuff in a way. And that's how they get people off. Even some people who have done crimes. Let's keep it real, you know? So it is what it is. Let's see what else they got here. So we're just going to see what this jury is going to decide on. And I guess we will probably have our answer, I don't know, by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So let's see. They say everything will wrap up by the July the 4th holiday. So Monday, they're going to deliberate. And if Diddy is convicted, he can face a minimum of 15 years, all the way up until life behind bars. Okay, point blank. I still want to know where all the other people are. I really do. I really want to know where all these people are making these allegations that he did all the stuff. Now, Aubrey O'Day says if Diddy walks free, she's going to buy herself a plane ticket to Bali. Because she said he's coming after everybody. Even, listen, she need to be more afraid if he's convicted. Because honestly, I don't know what he has. Okay, but you know, you just never know. You know what I'm saying? You should be more afraid if he's convicted. Because if he's convicted, you can still do things from the prison cell. You could already had it planned out. You know what I'm saying? You can just nod his head a certain way and people would know if I'm convicted, then you know what to do. Okay, so she should buy that ticket either way. I'm going to be perfectly honest, you know. Well, the jury, listen, oh boy, the jury are sitting there in the courtroom, okay, watching Sean Combs' reactions, seeing his body movements, mannerisms, and everything. We don't see that. We are talking about a case from home. Okay, we did not see them in the courtroom. All right, the jurors, they see that. All right, plus they are getting instructions from the judge. All right, and then they are conversing with one another. They probably got law books up there, just like I'm sitting up here reading law stuff. That's what I'm doing. All right, so they're probably doing the same thing, but they got more of an advantage because they got a chance to see Sean Combs' reactions. All right, they were there seeing the freak off videos. We didn't see the freak off videos. Okay, they saw stuff that we did not see, so we cannot make a definite answer or anything. Okay, we can just only guess, but they can more so than us because they're there. They are seeing him. They see the videos that we did not get a chance to see. And the judge will give them instructions. The judge isn't giving me instructions. The judge is not giving you guys instructions. We're just looking at whatever we're looking or basing stuff strictly off of what we think. I'm actually reading the law stuff right off a line from law books. Okay, that's exactly what Jermaine is doing. That's why he brought up the Mann Act. And that's why I say if they use the Mann Act, I can see how they are saying that it's ex-trafficking. All right, we're not the lawyers though. Right, that's what the judge does. Because if you can't comprehend stuff, you can't be on the jury. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's see what else. So again, Aubrey is saying she is moving to Valley, and I think she need to do that either way. Because I would be more scared if he's convicted. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I was talking to Jermaine about that too. I was like, if he's convicted, I was asking Jermaine, do you think he may have something up his sleeves? It may not even be now. It could be years from now. That's what they should be scared of, because just never know. Let me see what 50 cents is a trip. So on Instagram, 50 Cent wrote, "You are the worst lawyer." So he wrote that to Mark Agnafilo after his closing arguments at Diddy's trial in an Instagram post. Okay. But let's see what else did he say. So he said, Combs Agnafilo. She said that she agreed to it. Unfortunately, she agreed. That's it. We can be done with it. The house. Jane had the worst lawyer in the world. Her low child support from the father. In my opinion, Mr. Combs did the right thing. Pain. Okay. And then he said he's incompetent in predicting that the bad boy labor boss will be found guilty of the charges as a result. He says she didn't have the worst lawyer. You are the worst lawyer. Remember the name, Mark Agnafilo. He just got Diddy's ass 20 years. That's what 50 said. He said, damn, they did Diddy dirty. Them closing statements, man. I could have done better than that. How much he paid them lawyers? No, you need to read the whole thing though. See, that's what I'm talking about. These people read half of stuff. Because when I first read this to you guys, I gave y'all the other one, right? And I didn't read every single thing. So then when I kept on looking, I saw the entire thing. So you have to read everything. He didn't just say a fake trial and that's it. He said a whole list of stuff. Okay, a lot of stuff. He even explained the kidnapping thing. He explained the hotel fight. He explained everything. So I don't know what 50 is talking about. He must be trolling again. And you would say fake, if they are accusing him of running a criminal organization that trafficked, abused, and kidnapped women. that would be classified as, not being truthful if he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? If his attorney says he didn't do it or think he did it. What else would you call it? If 50 was in that same position, his lawyer would be saying the same exact thing. Okay. Anyway, 50 need to be quiet because his baby mama said that he abused her. One of them said that. Okay. And right, the defense does not have to prove anything. It's the damn prosecutors who have to prove everything. And they did not have evidence for many things. Okay. And I did admit with Jermaine, after he showed me that the Mann Act, it may be applied. I don't know for sure because I'm not a lawyer. Then the bribery thing may be true. But again, the defense attorney did make a good argument for that, period. You said the burden of proof is on the prosecution, the state. Okay? So it's the prosecution who have to prove that Diddy did a RICO. And if they did not do a good job of it, or an efficient job of it, then, everybody won't say guilty, So it is what it is. Like I just said, though, you do have to be there so you can really get a chance to see, this man, how he reacts, his body language, everything. You get a chance to see the freak off tapes. Remember, we didn't see the freak off tapes, but Agnifilo said there was nothing aggressive in those freak off tapes. So that would let us know right then and there, it did not look like anybody was coerced or forced because he said nothing was aggressive, no aggressive intimacy. That's what Agnifilo said. So there you go. If they do get a RICO, it's going to be because of those two elements, the bribery, and what was the other, the bribery and maybe the X trafficking. That's where I can see. But it depends on how those jurors look at that because many men pick up women off the street corners and take them to a hotel or around the corner, some even to their house. So that can be, if the police stop them, why don't they get charged with X trafficking? Because that's what they're doing. Okay. If you want to look at the definition of it, hey, Sabo, hey, kitty. Hi, Sabo. You don't want me to rub your cat? Hey, little Maine Coon. All right. So it is what it is, you guys. All right. It is what it is. So we're going to wrap up Sean Combs right now because I think that I covered mostly everything. I told you about his son yesterday. I'm not going to repeat that again. And I think I covered everything tonight about him. Besides these little crazy things that people are saying. Okay, so I think I did. So again, on Monday when they do the jury deliberation, how long is a jury deliberation? I think it's 4 hours. Let me see. Let's see, jury deliberation, right? Let's see how long it is. Oh, so it's about 2 hours, but they did say that the length can vary. Okay, it can even be several days or even weeks. All right, I don't see them taking that long. Probably 2 to 4 hours. Okay, so after the deliberation, what comes next? Then they just tell you. Let me see. Let's see, after that, what happens? So then the verdict is announced in court. All right. And if you know what, if the jury cannot agree on the verdict, it can be a hung jury. And then the judge may declare a mistrial. It can take from 2 hours to, like you just said, however long it takes. But I don't see them going that long, maybe 4 hours if they do. They may be able to reach it in 2 hours, okay? So that happens on Monday, or maybe Tuesday if they'll do it on Monday. And then that verdict will be in. I honestly don't think everybody will say guilty, though. I just don't. I don't. But they could. I'm just saying I don't think so. So let's see. So they do the deliberation. Okay, that's where the jury discusses the evidence and testimony presented during the trial, attempting to reach a I forgot how you said this word, UNANIMOUS decision on each charge. So that's on each charge. If the jury can agree on a verdict, guilty or not guilty for each charge, the foreperson or the designated speaker informs the bailiff. That's the reaching a verdict. And then they're going to do the notification of the court. The bailiff then notifies the judge, who will bring back everyone into the courtroom, including the attorneys, the defendant, and the jury. And then the judge associate will ask the foreperson if a verdict has been reached, and the foreperson will read the verdict aloud. If the jury cannot reach a unanimous decision, it may be declared a hung jury. In this case, the judge may declare a mistrial or allow further deliberations. All right. So I actually see a hung, a hung jury, and that's what I think is going to happen. But we will see. Okay. So we will see. So I'm thinking this probably, if they do everything on Monday, this would probably be over by Tuesday, huh? And we'll know if Sean is not guilty or guilty or a hung jury. So we will see. All right. So let's go ahead and move on, you guys, to Karmelo Anthony real quick, okay? A subject that I don't really like talking about, but you got to do it. Hold on, let me do this. Let me take Sean Diddy Combs stuff off here first. What time is it? Okay, let me hurry up. It's almost due. This time go by too quick. Okay, so Karmelo Anthony. Let me go ahead and go to this. Let me change this banner so I can let everybody know who I'm getting ready to talk about. So anyway, y'all do know that Karmelo Anthony, hold on, the young man who's accused of, what are you doing? Stop. Told you about doing that. He's accused of unaliving Austin Metcalf, okay? Anyway, Karmelo Anthony's father spoke out. As the family asked for another $1 million in donation for legal fees ahead of his further trial. So let's see. So in a new Facebook post, Karmelo's father, Drew Anthony, revealed that his son has officially requested a court-appointed lawyer, citing financial hardship. The request comes despite the family previously raising over $500,000 through public donation and now seeking to raise $1.4 million. A grand jury indicted 17-year-old Karmelo on one count of first-degree murder for fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf at a Frisco, Texas track meet. Anyway, his dad said Karmelo once had private legal representation, but the family could no longer sustain those costs. Now he's relying on the court system for a public defender as the case moves closer to trial. Of course, this has raised eyebrows, especially after the family raised more than $500,000 through crowdfunding platforms. Their most recent fundraising goal is $1.4 million. Now, people online have questioned where the money has gone. In response, the Anthony family has explained that the donations have supported various emergency expenses, from legal fees to trauma counseling, relocation after they have been threatened, transportation to court, and basic living costs. They said these funds are being used to cover essential and urgent needs. That's what Drew said on social media. He also stressed that their situation extends beyond the courtroom. Anyway, officials released Karmelo from the Collin County Jail after the court reduced his bond. However, prosecutors clarified that because he was 17 at the time of the incident, he will not face the you-know-what penalty. The Supreme Court has said you can't even get them life without parole. Meanwhile, the family of Austin Metcalf continues to process their own grief. Jeff Metcalf, Austin's father, told TMZ that he would have supported the you-know-what penalty had Karmelo been 18 at the time. He said, it's the law, unfortunately. Anyway, as both families brace for what lies ahead, the Anthony says the legal and emotional toll has only grown. With bills rising and public pressure mounting, they are asking for continued support to keep fighting on multiple fronts. Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Do y'all think they should be asking for more donations or what? And a lot of people were asking, what did they do with the $500,000 that they got? Well, we did look up how much a lawyer would cost to defend someone, of murder. And honestly, you guys, the price is ridiculous. All right. So when you take into account of the price, what was the price that it said they charged Jermaine? When you take into account how much lawyer costs to defend your child or yourself or whomever, against murder charges, how much did they say it cost? You will see how they used up all that money. And then, hiring security, and other costs, transportation, going to court, or whatever else they have to pay for. You can really see how quickly they used up that money. We looked up the cost too, and they said it takes almost from anywhere from, at a starting point, it's $500,000. Okay, but it can go all the way up to $1 million to defend, to get yourself defended, to get an attorney to defend you against murder charges. So that's a lot of money. So I can honestly see why they, are asking for $1.4 million, because a public defender. But another thing though I want to say is, because, just the other day, his lawyer was up on social media saying that he was going to fight hard and all this other stuff. And I don't know if they said that he's looking for a public defender. So I'm guessing the lawyer just said, no, I can't, do it anymore if you guys don't have the money. That's crazy. But, everything is about money. Everything. So, of course, when he asked for more money, they went up there and asked for more money for Austin's family as well, because they said Jeff Metcalf lost his job throughout all of this. Okay, right? He don't really stand a chance with a public defender. All right, that's true. But I can understand why they probably did. Like I said, why they did ask for more money. These are listen. If a person can ask for donations after calling a 4, 5, 6-year-old, a kid, a racial slur, well, his family could ask for more donations. And the thing is, if you don't want to donate, then don't donate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why people be tripping out about stuff like somebody is making them donate. If you don't think that is right, and the family shouldn't be asking for donations, then you just don't donate to them. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. Just like I don't think it was right, to make a donation to the lady who called the little kid NIGG. You know what I'm talking about. So I didn't donate. All right. So that's how I should be. I don't know why other people, why people be trying to trip out because other people support stuff. Right. Almost $1 million. That's crazy. So if you think you should donate to help Karmelo family, that's what you should do. Because again, this shit is not cheap, and that's why I asked Jermaine to look up how much does it cost to get legal representation, to help you get out of a early charge. And you are going to pay as much as you need to pay so you won't go to jail, if possible, prison. So it can be all the way up to $1 million. And with some people, it can be even more. Because good and dead on well, I wonder how much Sean Diddy Combs have paid so far. And then they had to relocate. Okay, they had to get security, trauma, counseling, all types of stuff. So all of that stuff probably came out of that money. But the lawyer fee was probably the most, and security. The lawyers are no joke, man. They be charging a lot. That's why a lot of people do get public defenders, because the lawyer fees are just too much. So hopefully, they do raise. Hey, Mosada, thank you so much for tuning in. So hopefully they do raise, enough so they can get a really good lawyer, and hopefully, they'll get somebody else different. You know what I'm saying? Because for a lawyer to just stop because they can pay and then even wait around to see if they can get the money donated, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It just shows you that people be looking at that money more than anything. Damn, it's tripped out. Damn, I didn't even see this. Listen, Diddy's lead attorney argues Cassie was keeping it gangsta by dating Kid Cudi while with Sean. So she wasn't too scared. She was cheating. So, it is what it is. She definitely knew how to keep it gangsta. Okay, remember when she told that dude, she's going to unalive him, and then her security right there is going to unalive him again. She was saying all types of stuff, So it is what it is. She didn't seem like, she was playing either. I think she was for real. Period. Keep it gangster, huh? Okay. So with Karmelo, what do you guys think about that? Do you think the family should be asking for more money or what? Damn, one of Diddy's longtime friends speaks to Court TV and says, "Show me the crimes." That's what she said. She said, "Show me the crimes that Diddy have done." She denied that Diddy is a criminal. She said Diddy did what a normal boss would do. And he does not have a God complex. Well, we think he has one, but we don't know because we don't know him. You know what I'm saying? We just seeing what we see, in front of the screen or whatever the case is. We don't know him personally, so we don't know for sure what he has. I know he a trip though, but it is what it is. He acts like he's a trip. Let's put it like that. Somebody else said government overreach in Diddy's trial. There's another attorney, okay? She said, not excuse anything Diddy did, not defending him. But if the government can twist the law to criminalize consensual adult behavior, we should all be paying attention. Some of y'all gonna be next, shit, out here picking up prostitutes, on the corners and shit. Some of y'all gonna be next. Watch. Shit. Definitely, most definitely. I'm gonna look this is. So let me get this. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Let me take my medicine. So you guys are going to be next. Are they trying to make a whole RICO and ex trafficking out of picking up male escorts? What Diddy should have done is this right here. He should have paid them through the business or nothing. And he should have not even talked about it. He should just say, I want y'all to come over, you to come over and be my escort. And then he could have said, well, he came over to be my escort. And then, we ended up having, what, but it wasn't paid. That's what he should have did. But they when it came, he could have just said, no. He could have just said, I paid for the escort service. And he should have kept it at that. I'm paying you for your escort service. Oh my God. Oh yeah, he does what, Jermaine? Because these messages be coming in here late. You said, oh yeah, he does need that $1.4 million, right? Those donations. So if y'all support him, make sure y'all donate. All right, point blank. All right. And that's all I need to say about Karmelo Anthony situation. I hope they do get enough donations so, he can get the best lawyer that they can afford to buy, because we want to make sure, he gets the best representation that he can get. I mean, for real. And I can't wait till this case start, because I'll definitely be checking that out and covering that as well. And I just hope that if he did, his lawyer said at the time that he was using self-defense. He said he was using a self-defense, and I just hope that's proven, because we haven't seen the videos, okay? Period. So hopefully it's there. All right, that's all I can say about that. All right, so let me go ahead and give y'all a couple of Fuccery news articles, and then that will be it for the night. All right, the thing, you said if the escort is offering additional services, but I'm telling you, this is what he should have did. This is some fuckery right here now, y'all. They should have never discussed about paying. See, Cassie did it wrong. When they hired the escorts, they should have just said, I want escort services. You know what I'm saying? Whatever escorts do. All right. And then he should just paid him for the escort services. Okay. And if anything extra would have happened, then he could have said, no, I hired escorts to escort me. You know what I'm saying? Because they could have went to the park, they could have went to the movies, or just in his theatrical room and watch movies. He's escorting him there. And then if something pop off, then it just does. But he didn't pay him for the pop off fees. He paid him for just the escort services. That's the way he should have did it. And he should have never paid it from his company account. Okay, period. He should have had Cassie pay for everything all the time, period. But you're paying for escort services anyway. He could have paid it from his own account because it's escort. Just an escort. Escorting is legal. So you pay for the escort service, all right? And that's it. And they should have never discussed anything else. Just let stuff happen naturally and be like, oh, we just did that naturally, okay? We decided to have an orgy. That's what they should have did. Versus the way he did it and stuff. It's just crazy. All right, so let's go ahead and do some fuckery news. Then we're going to get ready to get out of here, y'all, okay? That was a little fuckery news right there, though. All right. So let's see what I got here for some fuckery news. So check this out. Check this out, y'all. A teenage dude kidnapped a 3-year-old after beating the child's father with a plunger, and then he stripped him naked and poured bleach on his wounds. That's some straight up fuckery right there, okay? And then he claimed that his mom, who is incarcerated, told him to do it. And then when they questioned the mom, she said she didn't tell him to do this, okay? This is some fuckery, y'all. This dude is only 19 years old, all right? 19 years old. So he look crazy as hell, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Damn. Wait a minute, hold up. Let me show y'all. Okay. Anyway, he is in jail right now. He beat this man with a plunger, and then he fled with the victim's toddler. This dude's name is Charles Kaufman, 19 years old. He is in custody at the Knox County Jail after being charged with attempted second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, aggravated kidnapping, and theft. Now, according to a police report obtained by local NBC affiliate WBIR, police responded to a request for a welfare check at a home in Knoxville at around 8:45 a.m. on Sunday. The caller reportedly said they believe the man inside could be unalive and that his 3-year-old daughter may have been kidnapped. All right. The report stated that the police forced their way inside and found the homeowner in the bathroom naked and suffering from a severe head injury. The home reportedly smelled of bleach and the child was nowhere in sight. Okay. Now, according to reporting by local CBS affiliate WVLT, the alleged victim's Ford Expedition was also missing. Not long after the police put out an alert for the car, it was found, along with Kaufman and an unnamed woman in the missing child. In their report, police said Kaufman allegedly told them that his mother had called him from jail and instructed him to get the child from the home on Mercer Street. Police said the Kaufman's mother and the alleged victim were the legal guardians of the child. Kaufman reportedly said that he and the woman took an Uber to the home where he got into a physical altercation with the man who lived there. Kaufman reportedly told police that he slammed the victim into the ground, struck him in the face multiple times with his fist, struck the victim with a toilet plunger, and stuffed this plunger into the victim's mouth. He also reportedly admitted to dragging the victim into the bathroom, stripping him naked, and pouring bleach on the victim's wounds. Kaufman also admitted to stealing the alleged victim's car, but said that he had permission from the child's mother to take it. Anyway, the police spoke to the mom, who told them that she had not spoken to Kaufman. She also allegedly stated that she did not and would not have allowed him to take custody of the child or permit him to steal the alleged victim's car. Anyway, the unnamed woman who was with Kaufman told police that she walked inside the house to find the man on the floor. Kaufman then reportedly handed her the child, and the three left in the Ford Expedition. She also told the police that she overheard a conversation Kaufman was having on the phone, during which time he mentioned the alleged fight and didn't know if the victim was alive or unalive. The alleged victim was taken to a nearby hospital. He was diagnosed with a subdural hematoma and other serious injuries, according to a report. And police were not able to speak to him. Kaufman was booked into the Knox County Jail on Monday. His bond hearing was set for Friday. Okay. So so that was set for this Friday already, right? So I wondered if he got a bond or anything. But that's some crazy ass shit right there. So I'm wondering if the mom told him to do that or not, because people will lie, because the lady did say, the lady who was with him said she heard him talking on the phone to somebody. All right. So I hope the mom isn't lying. Okay, because he was talking on the phone to somebody, and he told that person what he did. So that's crazy. That is really crazy. But I'm glad the child is okay. And the man is still alive. So, okay, let's see what else we got here. So, a woman asked Justin Combs to pee on her as he leaves Diddy's trial. Isn't that crazy? I don't know if she said it trying to be sarcastic or she really wants him to pee on her. I don't know. That's crazy. Because Sean allegedly had Cassie, the male escort, pee in Cassie's mouth or something like that. I guess that's why she asked them. The lady said that to the son. And she also mentioned baby oil. And Justin and his family did not say a word to this lady back, okay? They just got in their car. That's crazy. People do the stupidest shit, you know what I'm saying? Listen to it. Y'all probably can hear the thing. They crazy. There always be certain people got to be doing the most. Okay, damn. Hold on, y'all. Crazy. I have to give me some drink. I know you need to turn that light off. I'm gonna turn it off soon. Okay. As always, always. That's crazy. So she said she want to get peed on. She want to get that baby off. That's crazy. Okay. Okay. So I wanted y'all to see what y'all think about. Okay. I want to tell y'all about this one right here. Okay, let's see what else we got. That's crazy. She wants to get peed on. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. I want to talk about the little earlers. Let's see. What else we got, y'all? So check this fuckery out. A man born on a U.S. military base was deported to Jamaica, a country he never even visited. That is some straight up fuckery right here, you guys. This don't even make any sense. He was born in the U.S. on a military base, and then they deported him to Jamaica, a country he never even visited, which is crazy. Yeah, he was born on a U.S. military base in Germany. He has been deported to Jamaica, a country he has no ties to and has never even set foot in. This dude was born in 1986, spent much of his childhood moving from one military base to another, alongside his father, a Jamaican-born U.S. service member who earned his citizenship during an 18-year military career. So following his parents' divorce, Thomas moved to Florida to live with his dad. Sadly, his dad passed away in 2010, not long after Thomas returned to live with him. In the years that followed, Thomas fell on hard times. He was homeless in Texas and had multiple run-ins with the law. But things took a dramatic turn when the government argued in court that Thomas was not a U.S. citizen, despite being born on a U.S. Army base in Germany. So anyway, so some court documents from 2015 show that the U.S. Department of Justice argued that Thomas did not qualify for citizenship under the law in effect at the time of his birth. And their reasoning is his father did not meet the physical presence requirement of the statute necessary to pass on citizenship. The case eventually reached the Supreme Court, but in another blow to Thomas, the High Court refused to hear his appeal, allowing the deportation to proceed. Authorities also cited his poor criminal convictions as part of their justification for deportation, a move that Thomas and others argue unfairly compounded his situation. So he first received an eviction notice. While packing up his belongings, he was arrested for trespassing, which led to a deeper spiral. While in jail, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, flagged his case and transferred him to a detention center in Houston, where he spent over 2 months awaiting his fate. Okay. So then, anyway, they deported him to Jamaica, all right? Now he's in Kingston, Jamaica. He's living in a hotel temporarily, unsure of what comes next. With no support network and no knowledge of the country, he's struggling to find his footing. That's crazy. Now, why in the hell would they ship him somewhere that he has never been? So he was born to a U.S. serviceman overseas on a U.S. base, and they still say he is not a citizen. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's some fuckery right there, y'all. I mean, that's some straight up fuckery. Okay, all the way in the country, he don't know a daggone thing about. So let's see. Give me two more stories that'll be a fuckery. I'm trying to see what else I got here, y'all. We don't read that shit. Did y'all know that Rihanna's dad passed? Did I tell y'all that? Yeah, she passed. I mean, he passed. I'm sorry. Let's see. So he had acute respiratory failure, aspiration pneumonia, and metastatic pancreatic cancer. Okay, those were underlying causes of his unalignment. He also had acute renal failure and acute tubular necrosis. Damn, he was 70 years old. So yeah, Rihanna's dad passed. And he had all them things going on with him, huh? He was 70 years old. My condolences expressed out to Rihanna and her family. Okay, and my prayers are with them. I think he passed a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure. I forgot exactly which day. I was meaning to tell you guys, but I forgot because we was talking about Diddy and other stuff. Okay. So, and that's not no fuckery story. I just wanted to let y'all know. So check this out. A trans woman tells her boyfriend she is trans after dating him for 3 years. You know, there was a case like that where a dude was dating a woman who turned out to be a trans. He ended up unaliving her. Okay. So, I mean, this is crazy. So let's see. She said, I was born a man and I got surgery because I wanted to be a girl. She said it on the phone, I guess. She said, technically, I'm a girl since I got surgery. And then her boyfriend reacts with visible confusion and hurt. There ain't nothing technical about it. It's crazy to think about because it put me in the headspace of what I always thought about you. You always had these manly features about you. Wow. Okay. So let's see what else they said on here. Okay, let's see. So that's the only thing they put up there. They didn't go into that relationship anymore. It's just the fact that they were dating for 3 years, and then one day she told him that she was born a man and got an exchange to be a woman. That's crazy. So if you was dating a woman for 3 years, and then one day she told you that she was born a man, what would you do? And what would you think? Somebody said, this can't be true. Somebody else said, this is why so many trans folks are terrified to be honest up front. They never know how the person they love will react. And sadly, too many react with violence. I think, for one thing, I don't think you should be waiting 3 years to be telling somebody that. I think after initially when you meet, you probably won't say anything. But if you see this person 3 times, you need to let them know that I wasn't born a girl. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be waiting until y'all kiss and get into entanglements because, you know, some people just don't want to date someone who was originally a man. You know what I'm saying? And then some people don't care. So I think you should just basically let a person know, after, the second date, you should definitely be telling them. Because usually if you have 3 dates, you're probably going to continue to have more dates. So I think you should just go ahead, let them know. Just like if you have some type of actual transmitted disease, you should basically let a person know. You said you would go to prison, and that's what I'm saying. He said she got manly features. So, damn, does that mean that he was still attracted to those features? So maybe, what does that mean? It's weird. hmm Okay, you said you would go to prison, huh, Jermaine? I know that's right. People stupid. Okay, let's see. Let's see. One more story. That's going to be it. Let me keep this story right here so I can read it later on. Okay, let's see what else we got. I'm trying to pick a good one. I thought I had more on my phone. Oh, no, I'll tell y'all about that on something else. Let's see. Let's see. So y'all remember, I don't know if y'all heard about the Palm Springs Clinic BOMB accomplice. Let me just tell y'all about it real quick. What happened? So this man right here, okay, he lived in Seattle, okay. He came out to Palm Springs, right, to this building right here, okay. This happened last month, okay. Okay, he was actually BOMB, a fertility clinic in Palm Springs, California. Anyway, they found him unalive in his prison in Los Angeles Federal Prison on Tuesday. So they said that they believe that this dude stepped up on a table on an upper tier of the facility, and then he jumped, plummeting to the ground floor. All right. They said the prison staff attempted life-saving measures, but authorities said the 32-year-old man was declared unalive at the hospital later that day. It's unclear how many stories he fell. So this dude was accused of providing 270 pounds of ammonium nitrate to the primary suspect, Guy Edward Bardicus, who authorities say carried out the May 17 car, attack. All right. So anyway, the guy who basically who did the whole thing, he was unalive, obviously. He was unalive in the blast because it was in a car and 4 people were injured. Okay, so this guy right here is the one who supplied him with that. So I wonder why he jumped. Or do y'all think somebody actually pushed him? Because the other guy was already unalive, so you can't say that somebody put a hit out on him so he wouldn't give out no information, because that guy is no longer with us. So that would be like, crazy. But still, somebody could have pushed him. So what do y'all think? So the guy who carried out everything, the one who got unalive in the car, you know what? They say he had an anti-nationalist views, meaning he thought humans needed to stop procreating. They say he left anti-pro-life writings before he allegedly set off the BOMB at the clinic. So he was trying to get rid of all the babies there, the embryos there. Okay. So I wonder did he actually jump himself? Let's see. Somebody said he was thrown. Somebody said he got pushed. And a lot of people think somebody pushed him. I think somebody pushed him too. I think somebody pushed him because why would he unalive himself? Unless he just didn't want to be in prison, you know. But still, you mean to tell me all the cameras they got there, they didn't see him get on top of a table and push it out the way and proceeded to jump or whatever? Or he got on the table and just jumped, or however they say he did it. You mean to tell me no guards saw that? No inmates, no nothing. Didn't see him when he started standing up on the table. Yeah, I believe somebody probably pushed him because it just don't sound right. But why would they push him? Because the guy that he supplied the material to make the the car, you know what? He got unalive in the car, BOMBING. You know, so I don't know why he would have jumped off the thing. And that's crazy. But anyway, it is what it is. You know, like I always say, if you do the crime, be prepared to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? To do the time. Period. He took this. He tried to really cause some unaliveness for real when the other dude, blew up the clinic. And I remember when that happened too. Crazy. All right, so anyway, I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Because all these other stories I got are like horror stories. Not horror, but I'm just saying people get unalive, and we don't really want to be hearing too many stories like that right now. So that's why I'm not going to give it to you guys. It's just like all the stuff coming up on my phone. Basically, it's like this. These people are crazy as hell at this Diddy court. Whatever you get, they got all types of shit coming up on my phone. Damn. Listen, can y'all believe a 92-year-old man was raping any unalive woman? 92 years old, you guys. Damn, he could barely move. It's crazy. And y'all do know Walter Scott of the Whispers passed on at 81 after dealing with a brief illness. Okay, so my condolences are expressed out to his family, friends, and fans, and my prayers are expressed out to them as well. And may he rest in peace. So they still got the daggone inmates out. Escape. They said the 9th escaped New Orleans inmate captured, leaving just one at large. So he was just arrested. This is old. This is way back. They got this old ass information on here. Let me see. No. That's when they escaped on May the 16th. So they just arrested this dude last Friday. Okay, in New Orleans, okay? And so it's one more still out, all right? Derrick Groves. So I wonder where he's at. So this dude right here, why do they stay in New Orleans if they escape prison in the same state or whatever the case is, in city, state, or whatever? When they captured him, he was in a rental property in the Holly Grove neighborhood of New Orleans. He was only miles from the jail. They just call him Friday afternoon. So let's see. I guess they're talking about last Friday because it couldn't be this past Friday. That's crazy. So there's one more still out. And I wonder where he's at. Now his girlfriend was also arrested for allegedly helping him escape. So the one that's still at large is a convicted murderer. He was convicted of unaliving 2 people in 2018, okay? His name is Groves. They said, we are going to catch you and you will be taken into custody. Okay, so we'll see. I wonder where he's at though. Yeah, I wonder where he's at. So his ex-girlfriend was actually, no, his current girlfriend was actually arrested too for helping him. They said she has exchanged text messages and video calls with Rose in the days leading up to the escape. And they have a $50,000 reward for information leading to Grove's capture. So if y'all know him and y'all want $50,000, you better get it. They said just like we found Massey today, we will find Groves. All right. I wonder where he's at. Okay. But anyway, I know I just saw this this little story right here. I wanted to tell you guys about. So it's another one still out here running around, you guys. So be looking out for Groves. I think that's his name. All right. All right. So now we are getting ready to get here. I'm gonna get out of here. The hell. I got to tell y'all this story before I leave. Just this one quick story. Listen, y'all. This Oklahoma man who lit his 5-year-old daughter on fire thought she was controlled by witchcraft. These people are absolutely nuts. This is the dude right here. A damn psychopath. He thought his daughter was controlled by witchcraft, so he lit her on fire. He unalived his 5-year-old daughter, you guys. He set her on fire, and he did so because he thought she was being controlled by witchcraft. All right? So they did sentence his stupid ass to life in prison as he should be. All right? And this happened in 2020. That's sad. This man is 34 years old. Damn, he definitely was inhumane. That's sad. Let's see. That's crazy. This man was on drugs, meth. All right. And so he was hallucinating. And that's why he thought she was being controlled by witchcraft. Just plain and crazy, man. Leave those DRUGSs alone, man. Because y'all know y'all be doing some weird shit when y'all be getting effed up like that. All right. Point blank. But anyway, guys, you guys have a great night. A beautiful weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday unless something crazy happens. I will be doing my Country Wayne reaction video later on today, so if you watch Country Wayne, check that out. And I'll be putting up a Dollar Tree haul on Sunday and my YouTube shorts over the weekend of me trying to do these challenges. Other than that, for the Talk Time Night Owl Live, I'll be back on Monday if God willing. And you guys have a blessed weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say thank you to Most Hated Bronze. You are so right, Most Hated. That's right. Thank you to Jermaine. I know you probably asleep or about sleep. Thanks to Old Boy. I appreciate you. Let's see what else was over here. Paul Bunyan was up in this place. Thank you so much, for being here. Let's see who else. And that's it. And thanks to everybody in the bushes and everybody who watches this in the replay. All right, guys. And don't forget, y'all, if y'all enjoyed this content tonight, make sure you thumbs it up. Also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe below. This cat is knocked out, y'all. Yeah, subscribe below. She look like she mad with this damn light on. Also, hit that bell notification so you can be notified of any upcoming videos. And I always forget to put this shit up here every time I be doing these lives. And make sure you share and leave a comment as well, okay? All right. And don't forget, guys, if you want to show additional support for the channel, you can do a super sticker, super chat, a cash up to $Shades2, or you can copy yourself a membership for $4.99 per month. All right? Have a blessed weekend, and I'll see you guys in my next video. This is Shades2. Thank you, Jermaine. Let's see. Hold on. Thank you, Jermaine. Okay. You are what's the name? That's why I call us night owls. All right. That's why I said that. We're going to change these banners. We're going to get ready to get out of here. Let's see. Let me go right here. This need to be off here. Let's see. I can't never find nothing up here, y'all. I'm telling you. So I can't find it. So anyway, we're gonna put this up there. Y'all have a good weekend, okay? And good night. Peace out. Let me turn this music off and go ahead and put this thing on. You gotta do all this scrolling and stuff. I don't know why StreamYard just don't put buttons up there or let you be able to automatically program everything to come up. They need to get hip, charging $44 a month, and you can't even do that automatically. It's a damn shame, y'all. Good night.
Yo, turn the lights down low and the drama up. She's late, she's loud, and she live. Woo! You already know who it is. Shades2, baby. She back again. Crowd lit, vibe on 10. Shay walk in like we back again. News, tea, jokes and spins. She don't do small talk, she go in. From the headlines to the comment section, she call names with no correction. You tuned in, don't act brand new. It's late night, baby, she got that view.
Late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I lacked game, back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. Popcorn ready, wig on alert. She dropped one line, is somebody hurt? Talk show queen with a side of roast. She run this thing from coast to coast. Late on purpose, still on time. She hit you with shade, then call it a rhyme. Talk smart, talk slick, talk flame. Say the name right, yeah, late night with Shay.
Late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. That's right. News, drama, laughs, whatever else you feel like. One mic, one queen. Late night with Shay. On Shay's tube, she back again.
It's late night with Shay.
Yeah, she say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah,